Hello and welcome. I'm Twyla.
And I'm Natalie.
This is Twyla and Natalie,
where we discuss the joys, the pitfalls of being a grown woman.
I like it. It's starting to really resonate with me. I like the sound of that now.
It is. We sound very smart.
Wait, why are we laughing at that? We're ridiculous. Okay, as always, whenever we do this show, we start an episode with a question. It's a question we tend to ask ourselves. It tends to be universal, but we answer it from our perspective and then try to have a bit of a discussion around it. So today's question is, do you feel mom guilt?
Mom guilt. Well, let's define that a little bit. Make sure we're on the same page here. So, I mean, it seems self-explanatory. When you feel guilty about things as a mom, you're not doing enough, you're not doing it right, those types of things.
I don't know what the definition is of mom guilt, because to be perfectly honest, I don't actually think I experienced that. What are you laughing at? I'm serious.
No, I get it.
You've known me for a long time. I'm kind of ridiculous in my sort of confidence in my ability. Yeah. So I usually don't think I'm doing it wrong no matter what I'm doing. So
what about, for example, maybe you don't doubt yourself in terms of the decisions you make for, say, discipline, or the decisions you're making and how you're raising your children.
Yeah.
Here's one for you. What about, you have 3 children.
Yes, I do.
And they are elementary school and middle school.
And a high schooler now.
And a high schooler. So you have one at each level.
Yeah.
With 3 kids, that's a lot of running around.
Yes.
Do you ever feel mom guilt over not making it to everything?
No. Wait, I will say this. And the reason I don't is because in the very beginning, I went to everything.
Mm-hmm.
I was the sort of you get that boomerang effect of whatever your parents did, you do the opposite of sometimes.
Sure.
My parents didn't go to anything when I was young. Like I played all different kinds of sports. I was in all kinds of clubs and groups. And my mom and dad didn't come to things. My dad worked nights, so he had to sleep during the day. Yeah. And my mom didn't drive a car. So she just, and to be perfectly honest, if you meet my mom, she just tells you if she don't want to be bothered, she's not bothered.
Yeah.
So I just was used to being at things and my family wasn't there.
Sure.
So when it was my turn and I had kids, I was just determined to be everywhere. So my kid decided today was going to be dandelion, cartwheel day. I was in the yard like, you pick those dandelions. You do that cartwheel. I was.
But by
everything.
child number 2 and 3, you chilled out.
Well, you know what? We sustained that pace for a very long time, and then we got to the point where it became okay. Let's prioritize. Like I remember thinking, we're wearing all of ourselves out.
Yeah,
we have a family philosophy that we're in for a penny, in for a pound. So everybody goes. So it's not just dad goes to this event and mom goes to this event unless we have a time conflict.
Yeah,
it was okay. Is it her soccer game today? Everybody's going to soccer today.
Even the other kids.
Yeah, everybody goes.
Wow,
that's how we've always done it, to try to show like we always wanted to support whoever it was and show that if you're into it and you're working hard and you're making your best effort, your family's going to be there to support you.
Wow, Twyla, that's really good.
Well, it was. But then, like I said, then what happened is we actually had these 3 kids who reached the magical age where they could all do something.
Yeah.
And then we were just exhausted.
Then it's all happening at the same time.
Right. So then it became like strategically like, what are we missing? Like, you have 2 ball games a week. We're not coming to that Tuesday game. Mm-hmm. And then, but it really was like a family debate for a minute. It was like, why not? And it was like, you know what? Because we got school the next day and these ones are exhausted and, let's, we support you. We'll go. Like sometimes we go for a part of a game and then we leave or, whatever it is. Certain events, everybody always goes. If it's a recital, if it's a performance,
sure, everybody
goes. Yeah. There's no middle on that.
Yeah,
but
I get that.
Yeah, but we don't usually, I said we set ourselves up to have that disaster down the road, but I was okay with the disaster.
Well, and it sounds like you changed direction on them a little bit, but you did it early enough that they could kind of deal with it and understand maybe why that is.
You'll adjust.
When I don't think that I have 3 children who are now adults, and I have 2 stepkids who are elementary school and middle school, and I'm with you on this one in terms of I don't experience mom guilt. I don't think that I ever did. And I don't think it's because it's a lack of, I'm not overly confident like you, Twyla.
I'm just waiting. I can envision the emails we're about to get. There are going to be so many women that are
going
just
to your children's event.
Yeah,
take your life back.
We're just going to get email after email about how you don't love your kids, and that's going to be a therapy bill.
No, you know what I think it is? And for me, from the beginning, I'm a believer in setting the bar and setting precedent.
Okay.
And, my kids were 2 years apart. The third one came 6 years later. So when my older ones were starting to get active.
They're almost exactly the same.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
That's right, except I started earlier.
Yeah. You're free now.
Almost. But I wasn't overconfident in the way that, and I love that about you. You never even question, am I doing this right or not?
I'm just delusional.
I knew there were things I knew there were things that I was messing up. You start off as a mom and you tell your things. You're not going to do all the things your parents did. You're going to do these things better. I'm not going to lie to my children. I'm not going to bribe my children. That ends at about 8 months.
Yeah, I would say we made it about 2 years.
Yeah. But I wanted my kids to also understand, because like you, I grew up with parents who were never at anything. I don't think my mom knew where my school was.
That's generational, right? Like I watched this fascinating documentary about sort of Gen Xers and how we were raised compared to how we're raising our families.
Yeah.
And there was sort of this bridge of the 70s bleeding into the 80s of our parents wanting to have more what they called me time.
Yeah.
So it was, that's where the latchkey generation came from. And that's where sort of the sustained presence of you can be more independent, you'll be fine, where TV dinners, all that stuff kind of proliferated during that time period. And so this whole helicopter phase that we're in now is an exact sort of reaction to that.
Doing kind of the opposite.
Yeah, doing the exact opposite, like being super overly involved. And I'll be honest, my husband still makes the helicopter propeller noise sometimes around me because I have been known to be really overly involved. Like I'm there, I'm the volunteer, I'm at school, I'm the, because I just always kept wanting to make up.
But let me ask you this: Did you enjoy doing, like, when you would volunteer at school? Is it something that you went because it was an obligation, or you went because you actually enjoy doing that type of thing?
Okay, it's a little bit of both. I'll be perfectly honest. I wanted to be there because I wanted to be involved with my kids, and I wanted to be present, and I wanted to make sure that I, knew what their lives were like at school. I wanted to know the teachers and know the students and know their friends. But I also had a very specific and calculated reason for being there. As a woman of color, I'm a Black woman who lives in the Midwest, who often finds herself and her family in situations where we are the only people of color or one of very few people of color. I very specifically wanted to be in that building all the time. I wanted to be at school all the time. Yeah, because if there's no brown people in the room, then, well, to be honest, if there's no brown people in the room, then they talk about stuff that has to do with us, and they don't talk to us.
Yeah.
So I would show up and just be like, point of order, there's a Black lady here.
Yeah.
Point of order, I'm going to be observing for the Black contingent and the Asian contingent today.
That's right.
Because my husband is Vietnamese. So I'm like, just, watch that stereotypical thing you're about to say about how kids test, think it over. So, I mean, it was actually I'll be honest and say it was very calculated in that I wanted to make sure I was always there. If for no other reason than, if I got to brush you, I might not even have to brush you back off the plate because you see me show up and you're like, oh, Twyla's here.
Yeah.
And then you kind of remember. you remember yourself.
Well, I think, I think that makes a lot of sense. And that is a different situation in ways than the stereotypical for what most people experience. I see many moms who go to these things and overextend themselves.
Now, I think that's where my first real understanding of mom guilt came from. Is that you would volunteer for these things because everybody volunteers and you want to be a helpful parent, and then you get in over your head, like you wind up running the carnival or you wind up being in charge of fundraiser. I am the queen of saying no. Yeah, I say no. I probably say no far too easily. I should at this point in my life, I probably should have been involved in more things, but I was very good, and I don't know if I'm going to give that all credit to my mother. Because she's always been good at being like, that's not for me. Yeah. Don't do it. Yeah. And so when people would come and be like, we need somebody to run this committee. Twyla, you're new. I go, no, thank you. Yeah. And they would go, well, but we'll give you somebody to partner with. I go, no, that's okay. They're like, oh, well, if you have work commitments. No, I don't have a job. I just don't want to do it. So I always make sure to find out where I fit in and then stick to that role. So
and your strengths too. Things, if you can, I would try to gravitate towards things that I had a natural, ability to do, or where I felt I could be more helpful. Yeah. But I'm also a big believer in raising my children to understand the world does not revolve around them, and that there will be times when I put myself before them.
You do
for
that better
their own good.
Yeah, you do that better than I do. It took me a while to pull back and go, okay, yeah, I'm going to go do this thing with my friends.
Yeah.
That you don't need me here to tuck you in tonight in particular.
That's
you
right.
You have a dad. He's not babysitting. He's your father.
Yeah.
He's gonna take care of you tonight because I'm going to go do this thing. And that did take me a while to sort of extricate myself from the everyday. I did become... And it's very easy to become sort of, super mom and be like, nobody folds the towels better than me and puts them in the cabinet,
Yeah, well, the house is also not going to burn down because you didn't fold the towels right.
Right. And you have to, there's a part of that, I think
you got to let it go.
Yeah, I think that's sort of, there are weird levels of mom guilt. I think there's sort of there's the mom guilt that is sort of insulated to you and your family and what the thoughts are in your head,
and then how you're perceived.
Yeah, then there's mom guilt that is like sort of outwardly that the idea of how people see you, how other mothers perceive what you do, and things like that. And I say all the time, thank goodness I am as delusional as I am. My life motto really and truly is what other people think of me is none of my business.
Yeah,
because
and that's the way to do it.
Yeah, because then when I was out, when I first started going, being a mom, I was a stay-at-home mom, like a truly stay-at-home mom. I didn't have a side job. I was not leaning in like Sheryl Sandberg told us to. I was with my kids. And I would run into people be like, you're at home with your kids. Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cute. And I would be like,
torturous at times.
Yeah. Well, and to be honest, I would be like, yeah, I mean, I feel bad for you. You're going back to work. I'm going to color at the park.
Yeah.
Feel like I win. Wait, we had Dairy Queen for lunch. I win today. So I was kind of always, able to sort of dissect those.
Well, there's things that you like about it and things that you don't. And I think,
I'll never need to see another Lego in my life.
No. For me, the ultimate why I think I don't really experience mom guilt is because I learned at very early in my momming career, if you will, which I'm oh my gosh, I just did the math. Oh my gosh,
okay, well,
I'm almost 27 years in.
Wow,
my oldest will be 27.
Yes, I'm only 14 years in. I'm good.
Wow. That makes me an expert, people. Yeah. 27 years.
25 years is expert or more is expertise. I think so.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
But the reason I don't feel mom guilt is I gave up a long time ago trying to be a perfect mom.
That's so smart though.
I accept my imperfections. And if other people don't, that's on them. I know they see it at times. We can't be perfect all the time. When you adopt the Twyla philosophy of, what other people think about me is not my business, it truly frees you. And when you can be honest about it, and do things that, you're not trying so hard for somebody else, or in truth, people who really don't matter in the grand scheme of your life.
Well, you know what? I think that's one of the most important pieces of this is that the idea of that perfection. In me saying this and being sort of delusionally confident in how I mother my children, I mess it up all the time. I know I do.
Yeah.
I routinely try to practice apologizing to my children if I've done it wrong, or if I've approached a situation the wrong way, or if our feelings have gotten hurt in the process. My kids are not model citizens by any means. They are really and truly just children. I'm proud of them for, for being kind human beings and good people.
Yeah.
But they're still kids. They still mess up. They still talk back. They still lose privileges.
Yeah.
A lot of that stuff happens all of the time. And that, that notion of perfectionism, I'm really glad it didn't, I never let it take real hold of me. I think I was more worried about getting it right because I had this notion in my head that the difference between raising a solid citizen and a serial killer is like inches. So I kept thinking, if I screw this up and he turns into Ted Bundy, I'm
on the hook for this.
I don't want to be Ted Bundy's mom. So, so I was, a lot of my parenting was really about like, I'm going to make sure you're a good, solid
I'm just
human
trying
being.
to prevent a serial killer from being born.
Right. I'm not, no joke. I was just like, okay, I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it right. But
that's a lot of pressure, Twyla.
I mean, on me, just not on anybody else. So,
well, and then your kids to a degree.
No, because
you better eat those vegetables. Ted Bundy didn't eat vegetables.
But one of the things that I think was it echoed what you said about that you don't sort of travel in perfectionism. You don't worry about being a perfect mom. The thing that is single-handedly kept me from having sort of this overall sense of mom guilt is that I know for a fact, and in every interaction, I try to give 100%. So if I'm with my kids,
then you're doing it.
It's 100% my kids, and not in that like smothering, like, what are you doing, like a puppy dog kind of way. I just know if I'm here and it's hangout time with my kids, I'm gonna hang out with my kids.
Yeah, listen to them.
Yeah, I'm gonna listen. Right, I'm gonna listen.
Put the device down.
I'll listen to the crazy story. I'll listen to the explanation of magic rules for the 7,000th time. Whatever it is, I'll listen to them. If we're watching a show together and it's it might be a really terrible show. And the thing is, I'm super transparent with them too. So if we're watching something on Netflix, I have a daughter. I have a small-aged daughter. I have watched many, many hours of My Little Pony. Friendship is magic. I really can't take it anymore. So she knows that part of our hangout time, if it's me and her, is we might sit on the couch together. We'll snuggle up with all the blankets. She will happily turn it on. I will happily grab my tablet and either read chapters of a book or,
tweet about how horrible My Little Pony is.
Sometimes I do that. But I tell her up front, like, I ask about it. Right.
Yeah.
I ask about it. So, but we're, when we're together and I'm with them, they're getting the very best of me I can offer, so that when I'm away from them, I don't ever have that feeling of, I wish I was with them. I'm not doing enough to be with them. I'm not doing enough for them because I'm not there with them right now. The kids know when I'm working, I'm giving my work 100%, so that when I get back to you, I can give you 100%.
That's right. And they learned that, and you're modeling. And I think that's the thing as moms we need to keep in mind is let the guilt go, because we're also modeling being adult women. We're modeling being moms. We're modeling being, like I said, women, independent women.
And do you notice we don't do this? We don't apply this guilt to other things.
No!
I certainly didn't have teenage girl guilt about my parents.
Yeah.
I didn't. I didn't feel like,
you feel bad you weren't hanging out with your mom on a Saturday night.
No, I didn't.
It does not go both ways.
Yeah, in college, I didn't have that sort of guilt that I wasn't, I feel guilty that
they don't feel bad that they're not cleaning their room. They don't feel bad that they just track mud through the house.
And I'll be honest, even as a newlywed, as a person in a long-term relationship, I never felt that level of guilt that, I wasn't with my man when I was out with my girls, or or I went to go visit my family without him and I feel bad that we're not together. I didn't have that. It was you do you, I'll do me. I'm not going anywhere.
Then we'll get together and do each other.
I'm more that is accurate, though.
If you're in a successful relationship.
Well, and everybody knows I'm more loyal than a golden retriever, so I'm never worried about you. If you say I'm going to the bar with my buddies, have fun at the bar with your buddies. I'm not. I know you're not that stupid, and everybody knows I set things on fire.
I know you don't want to die,
right?
In a blaze of fire,
right? Okay. I'm gonna get emails about this too, but the running gag in our house is my husband and I have an understanding. If we're stupid enough to cheat, which we shouldn't be, it's a given that the other person's things are going to go up in flames. We're just going to set your stuff on fire.
Now, what's kind of funny, and of course it'll never happen, but if for some reason your house did burn down, everyone's going to think your husband cheated on you.
Or that I cheated on him because we have a mutual understanding.
They're going to think Twyla finally did it.
Yeah, they're going to be like, what did you do? Yeah.
The arson investigators here so fast.
That's true. I should probably stop
saying that. We listen to your show,
now.
Twyla. We know you burn your house down.
Really
what did the man do?
I should really stop saying that out loud.
I
need the insurance. Happen. I'm going to need the insurance.
Same reason why you never want to publicly threaten to kill anybody. Because if something happens to them, the police call that motive.
Yeah, I don't. Okay, we're just going to edit
We're being hypothetical.
We're just going to edit that whole last 3 minutes.
No, we are
out.
not. No, that's not fair. I'll say it again later.
But yeah,
you are right.
Yeah, I don't feel that, that guilt does not exist in that way in other categories. I don't feel that guilt with my sisters. I don't feel that guilt with my friends. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I give my friends like an overall, I call it a free pass because life happens. So
yeah, exactly.
You don't have to tell me, you don't have to say sorry if we had plans, you had to cancel them, or if you're late getting to where we're going to meet. I always go, life happens. Don't apologize for that.
Do you ever see, I find this interesting. I like to, when I'm in situations with other parents, specifically moms, like I was at a soccer game the other day, I like sharing how I truly feel about these things and watching the reaction. Because sometimes they're so shocked that you just said that.
You're not allowed to be a mom who dislikes or is disinterested.
No, but
in your
you
kids.
are. And this is what I want to change, people. Let's change. It is okay to, one, sometimes not like your children.
No, okay.
Secondly, to not like their activities or want to be there. You do it because you're a mom and you want to show support. It does not mean you have to be at every single thing. They need to learn that you also have a life outside of them.
Yeah, I've been watching little boys play t-ball since my son was 3. He's almost 14.
Boring.
He's almost 14.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, if you really like it.
Well, and I love baseball, but we're now just getting to the point where it looks like a game. For years,
now it's getting interesting.
For years it was
watching
pitching and watching it
like
hit the dirt, halfway to home plate, and watching like wildly missed swings and wildly not caught balls, and kids, picking up dandelions in the field. That's a lot. It was a lot for a lot of years.
No, and you can. I was at the soccer game, and some storms were moving in the next day. It was a 2-day tournament, and I said, I really hope it storms tomorrow and this gets canceled.
Okay.
I could use a free day.
Okay, no, okay, listen. We're gonna talk about the dirty little secret that is kids sporting events in inclement weather, because it's wrong, and we should start a whole revolution. I have been to how many soccer, baseball, outdoor, t-ball, whatever games where the sky opens up and they go, as long as there's no lightning, we're gonna play through. And I'm like, first of all, I did my hair. So let's discuss this play through business before you have me sitting out here in the rain for an hour.
This is not a culturally sensitive play here you're trying to do.
Yeah. Second of all, you need to redesign these fields so that the parking lots allow for the cars to butt up against the field, so that when it does rain, I can watch you from the comfort of my car. So that I can have the car warm and ready to go when my kid comes out. And the thing is, little kids love it. They don't actually hate playing in the rain and stuff. They're like, "Oh, it's raining." They run around in it.
I have a solution for all of this.
Okay.
I have a brilliant solution.
Okay.
And it shouldn't be hard. You could do it with a cell phone and have one person and one parent in charge of it. We should be able to live stream our children's sports, watch them from the comfort of our own home with a glass of wine.
Okay, see, I'm down for this, but it's going to cost us a bunch of money.
I would pay a little extra if we all chipped in.
I mean, I already do pay an arm and a leg just to watch it.
Think about it, grandparents who can't make it, aunts and uncles who don't want to be out in 90-degree heat.
This would be bad, because you know what's going to happen?
What?
Parents will stop going to these things forever. It's going to be like a field full of kids, one dude with a camera. It is. It's going to be a field full of kids, one guy with a camera, the coaches, and like the ref. And the kids are going to be like, where's your mom? Well, my mom,
she's live streaming. Wave to the camera.
Right. It's going to be like, and we're not even, here's the thing, we're not even going to watch. We're going to like send the links to grandparents, and then we're going to go about our business, and grandparents are going to be involved in the game. Remember when Skype first became a thing?
Yeah.
I can't even tell you, and I know because I've done it, how many of us put our babies, our toddlers, in their little bouncy seat where they couldn't get anywhere.
Sure.
Put the computer in front of them. Yeah. Turn Skype on with their grandparents, and was like, okay, I'm going to wash dishes. I'll be back. Yeah. I'll be back in like 40 minutes.
But if the grandparents live far away, they like that.
Well, yeah, but we were totally we totally used it as an excuse to check out. Like the first 2 times on Skype, to me
that sounds like good strategizing and planning.
Yeah, you're like, look, hi mom, and then the third time when the kid knows that's their grandparent or whoever it is, you literally prop them up, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna take a shower real quick. I'm gonna be right back. Like I had some friends that their grandparents lived in England, and so he would need to do office work, so he would routinely put his baby in there. The baby would be in the office with him, but his mom would be on the screen in England, and she would be talking to the baby, and he would be doing his work right next to
smart.
them. It is, but it's that whole idea of like, we sometimes we use technology to check out, and I just know
But you're not. You needed a shower. I mean, that to me is using technology as a tool.
Yeah, that's
not
true.
To use
back
it to check out.
Back in those old days when you showered once every 6 days.
Yeah, when you had a baby.
Yeah, but you're like, I don't think I'm ever going to see outdoors again.
And the things that we enjoy, I enjoy my stepkids' soccer because again, they're at an age where it's exciting.
Yeah,
in fact, it's kind of stressful. I don't like out always being in extreme heat and bad weather, which is why that's going to
be a whole other show about how we stress out over things. I am very competitive.
Yeah,
I am very competitive.
And one of those obnoxious parents yelling directions from the sidelines.
Yes.
There's coaching a reason your kids while they play.
Yes, there's a reason why my husband had to coach, because one of us had to be on the field, so we couldn't both get kicked out. And I fully admit that. I sometimes wear headphones to the games, and other parents will be looking at me like, "You're not even paying attention to your kid's game." And my son asked me one day, like, "Mom, why do you wear headphones?" I said, "Because sometimes I need to dull out the enthusiasm that I have. So I need something to distract me a little bit, so that I don't like wind up standing up and being like, 'Who's covering third? Why are you doing?'" Like I'm that girl.
No, I don't do that because I don't understand the rules of the sport. But
see, I do it with the sport I know, and then the sports I don't know, I just yell, "Come on.
Yeah, I know. I just applaud when everyone else does. But I can track the ball, which net it's going into. I understand those basics.
You're like, that's our side, right? So when you do basketball, you get all mixed up when they switch hoops. And you're like, why
they switch side. They switch in soccer too. They switch.
Why?
See, I was going to say end zones. I know that's not the right word. Yeah.
They switch goals.
Got a kid in football too.
Oh, no, see, I don't do that. Yep. No, luckily. So
football is fun, and I like the social interaction with parents on the sidelines. You know, I like hanging out. So I try to treat it like social hour too.
See, I don't. There's another part of the mom guilt I don't feel.
Yeah, but I don't do it because I feel mom guilt. I do it because sometimes I'm bored and want to talk to somebody. And I mainly work from home.
Right.
I'm mainly working with a computer. I don't do this type of work where I'm out.
You're a social person.
Exactly. But if I'm not, if I've been, I start my days at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning working at home. So by 1, 2 o'clock, I could have 7, 8 hours in and I'm done for the day in a happy hour time. Go to the soccer field. It's nice to be able to talk to some other parents.
See, I'm antisocial. I don't want to talk to y'all. I mean, sometimes I'll talk to you, but sometimes I just don't want, sometimes by the time we get to that sporting event, I've had a full day. I have worked. I have done, school things. I've done kid things. I've done house things. And I now still have to get sort of through this event before we can kind of decompress for the night.
Yeah.
And when they get older, they go later in the day. So, like little kids T-ball.
Then you're up later. And if you have a younger child, that's really hard.
Yeah. Little kids T-ball starts at 4:30, 5 o'clock. Yeah. Older kids start at 6:30 and it's or 7:30, it's like, oh, and I got 2 hours of this.
Yeah.
So sometimes the parents will show up and they'll be wanting to be all like, hey, and did you see this? And I'm like, no, I didn't. No, I just don't.
Yeah,
no.
You're
so
just,
sometimes I show up with my headphones on and they're never plugged in. I'm just trying to tell you I need a little room today.
I need some time and some space.
Yeah, but that's a mom guilt thing too. Like you don't want to be like the idea of you being the parent who's not social with the other parents becomes this thing, and you have to understand really quickly how you're going to navigate that so that you don't ostracize your kid in the process.
That's right.
Because I think where a lot of mom guilt comes from, it has nothing to do.
It's how it affects our kids.
Right. It has nothing to do with us as individuals. You don't ever have to like me.
Yeah.
But I don't ever want you to have an excuse not to like my kid because of me.
Yeah. I always try to be a good representation of my family and the children when I'm at these things. I try to remember not to swear, I try to remember to, if I'm bringing a cocktail, to stick to vodka because it doesn't smell. I quit hauling a whole bottle of wine to the field. Apparently, that's not okay.
No, that's not helpful.
If they made it okay, though, I think more parents would enjoy these things.
No, more parents will wind up in a fist fight. Because then
I'm talking about just one drink.
We'd get
relax.
Mouthy. We'd get
put your
loud
feet up
mouthy.
At 6:30. The sun is starting to go down. You're watching the game. It's a beautiful summer afternoon.
Yeah, no, we'd get real loose and mouthy. That would be all of a sudden you'd be like talking smack about somebody's kid. Then it'd be a thing. You can take him. He's too big to make the first. Now we're fighting.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think the key, though, is, and if you do experience mom guilt, if you're listening to this and you beat yourself up about stuff, you got to stop.
Yeah,
you're going to beat yourself up more than anyone else is. And really, your kids will still think you walk on water.
You know what? Amen, sister. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how badly you screw it up. Your kid will still look at you like you hung the moon at the end of the day.
Yeah. And when we're able to, and we've talked about taking our mistakes, using it as teachable moments to be honest with our children about our mistakes. I made a mistake, or I overreacted to this and I should not have said that. Using it as a teachable moment. People, and especially our children, learn more by our actions than what the words that actually come out of our mouths.
Yeah, you can say something to a kid 1,000,000 times over, but what they see you do is what's going to count. And that's always going to be the case. So when you catch yourself in that moment, or when you make a choice to walk away from a situation that's getting heated, or you stand up for yourself in a moment where you need to, and they see it, it matters to them because it fortifies who they are as people. And they know you have their back. And two, they know that they know where their boundary is to sort of test where they need to be in the world.
Yeah, and especially when you can admit that you made a mistake to your child. That's a great teachable moment.
That's huge because that was the thing I struggled with the most, is wanting to be I've told you before, the tone of my voice and the way that I talk to people, I sound very
authoritarian.
Yeah. So I sound like I know what I'm doing. I sound like I'm telling you what to do always. And it's not intentional. It's just that's how I speak. So when you're talking to, your kids and you've made a mistake, and especially at this weird teenage age where they catch it right away when you make a mistake.
They're looking for you to make a mistake.
Yeah. And there's, and then sometimes you get mad and you double down, like, correct me, and then you're in trouble. You really do have to circle back.
Yeah.
And not in that moment. Sometimes you come back later, come back in a couple days and revisit it, whatever you need to do. But have that moment of humility with your kids. It's important that they see that you're human. It's important that they see that you make mistakes.
Yeah, know what's going to happen, and also don't be afraid to not go to everything. There are things even where I can go. One of my kids had a game. I was having a rough day. I was really busy, but then I thought, you know what? I'll be there. I could go. I didn't. I got him a ride because I knew I needed some downtime so I could be a better parent later on when he got back.
See, and I think that's huge. I think being able to recognize that sometimes you need to sort of just step back from whatever it is and take that breather or take that moment. It's important. And the thing is, don't lie about it. Just be honest about it.
Yeah, be honest.
When you lie,
I could go, but
I've had those I've had those early years of lying about, I can't volunteer at this thing because and I always get into the thing is I'm a terrible liar. So I wound up lying about and telling these outrageous lies, like my third aunt from the left died.
Yeah,
and then somebody
then you can't keep track of it.
No, like one time I told somebody 2 different aunts died, and then they asked about it, and it was like, "You both your aunts died?" And I was like,
"What are the odds?"
Yeah, it was like, "What are the odds that I get caught in this lie?" Real good. So
I think it's refreshing. I know, again, we talked about like when you share with other moms, and you actually tell them the truth. Truth is, I hate this.
and
sometimes you love it.
Good though.
Because it makes it okay. I had a friend just ask me today. She's going on a trip without her kids, and her kids are older.
She's lucky.
They're not babies, and she said, I'm not going to miss my kids. Oh my God, is it bad that I even just said that? I said, no. There's nothing wrong with not missing your kids.
No, because
there's also
healthy,
nothing wrong. They're
safe.
fine. There's also nothing wrong with missing your kids.
Right.
It goes 2 ways. You got to stop beating yourself up. And it's okay to not want to be at everything and to not go to everything. Your kids learn independence. I've raised 3 of them now into adulthood, and they will all attest. At the time, they might have been a little peeved that I wouldn't go to some marching band thing and torture myself on a hard, cold seat outside in the rain. But as adults, both my girls and my son have told me, I appreciate it because it helped me learn that I have to take care of myself. I can't be everything to everybody.
Right. And there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
So I guess
be good with it.
In closing, if we ask the question, do we feel mom guilt?
Personally, I do not.
I don't either. And apparently our advice to you is you shouldn't either.
No.
So let go of some of that and start sort of making space in your life to enjoy your life and your kids and stuff.
Yeah, you'll be better. You'll be a better partner. You'll be a better parent when you carve out some time. Take it and enjoy it, embrace it, and don't feel like you need to make excuses because you took some time for yourself.
Yep, the best excuse is because I don't want to.
Exactly.
That's it.
Just say no.
Now, as always, we want to hear from you. We want your feedback. You should let us know how you feel about it. Do you feel mom guilt? If our wise and sage advice has done anything to help you, or if you really just think we're full of crap and you want to say so, we want to hear everything. So make sure you go to Facebook, go to our page, Matriarch Digital Media. There is a lovely little send message feature right in the top on the right-hand side. Click on that and send us a message. Tag it Twyla and Natalie so we know you're talking to us. I mean, it'll be pretty easy to figure out when you say those 2 idiot women that said this thing. But just for safety's sake, put our name on it too. And as always, we really appreciate you listening, and we're enjoying this. So I'm having a good time. How about you?
Absolutely. I love running my mouth.
All right, we'll talk to you the next time.